In their report that was not even 2 pages long, they said that in order to reach a definitive conclusion about where the virus came from, we would need the help from the government of China. And of course, the intel agencies knew we would never get that help. Quote, China's cooperation most likely would be needed to reach a conclusive assessment of the origins of COVID-19. So if you're the Biden administration and you really wanted to know where COVID came from, that line would justify putting immense pressure on the government of China to hand over the answers so we could find out what the hell just happened. But Joe Biden didn't do that. A few months after the intel community's second report came out, a reporter asked Joe Biden, why haven't you followed up on their recommendation and pressured the government of China to answer basic questions about where COVID came from? And you may remember this, or maybe you've never seen it before. Here's Biden's response. He just smiled and walked away.
800,000 coronavirus deaths. If you have a statement on your responsibility, why haven't you asked China to do more to be transparent on the origins?
He just smiled and walked away. And no one followed up. There was no outrage in the United States Congress. No one in the media yelled at him for that. It was clear that Joe Biden had zero interest in finding out where the virus came from and whether or not China was involved. Now, why is that? Well, the Chinese government has made Joe Biden's family extraordinarily rich, richer than we knew. In fact, we just learned from the Washington Free Beacon that the Biden administration has sent 1 million barrels of oil from our, not belonging to him, but to us, the American people, our strategic petroleum reserve to a Chinese-owned energy company that Hunter Biden has invested in. Remember they used to tell you that the Trump kids were so corrupt? All of them got poorer after 4 years of the Trump administration. But not Joe Biden's son. But it's not just Biden and his administration that has ignored China's potential involvement in creating COVID. The media are not interested either. Why is that? Well, keep in mind the government of China pays American media a lot of money. And in exchange, why not ignore what could be the crime of the century? In recent years, China has spent tens of millions of dollars on advertising in American newspapers. That would include the New York Times. And maybe that's why the New York Times COVID reporter, Apurva Mandeli, sent out this tweet last year. Quote, someday we will stop talking about the lab leak theory and maybe even admit its racist roots. But alas, that day is not yet here. So it was racist to ask whether the outbreak of a global pandemic in Wuhan might be related to the Chinese government lab in Wuhan that was experimenting on a version of the same virus. Yeah, that was racist.